For 17 years, Celine Dion hid something from the world. Not a scandal, not an affair, something far more frightening. It started in her throat, the one place a singer can never afford to lose. She blamed it on tiredness. She blamed it on overwork. She kept smiling, kept performing. Then, in 2022, the truth came out with a name most people had never heard. Now at 58, she is making a decision that has shocked even those closest to her. The risk behind it is bigger than anyone realizes. In June 2024, there was no stage, no crowd. Celine Dion lay on a massage table in a private therapy room when her body went into spasm. It started in her foot, then spread through her leg, torso, arms, and face until her whole body was convulsing. She was fully conscious, crying and groaning while her medical team rushed to help her with diazepam nasal spray. The episode lasted several minutes while the camera kept rolling. When it ended, she said something that hurts more than the seizure itself. She said these episodes make her feel embarrassed. This is a woman who has performed for kings, queens, presidents, and stadiums full of strangers. Yet the illness leaves her feeling ashamed, as if her own body has turned against the life she built. Then the story takes a sharp turn. Only months later, that same woman stood on the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Rain was falling. The world was watching. She wore a white gown and sang with control, grace, and power. The body was the same. The illness was the same. Yet the moment was completely different. Celine Dion is now stepping toward a huge comeback with sold-out shows and a disease that has no cure. Millions want to believe they are watching one of the greatest returns in modern music. But what exactly are they watching? Triumph or risk dressed as hope? To understand what she is fighting now, you have to understand what she built. Celine Dion did not simply become famous. She built one of the most remarkable careers in music history. Born on March 30th, 1968, in Charlemagne, Quebec, she was the youngest of 14 children. Her family did not have much money, though music filled the house. Her father played accordion. Her mother organized the family into a performing group. Celine was 5 when she first performed for a real crowd. For her, the stage arrived early and never left. At 19, she stood on the Eurovision stage in Dublin, singing for Switzerland in French. She won by a single point. That tiny margin opened a door that changed everything. None of it would have happened without René Angelo. He was a music manager when Celine's brother sent him a demo tape of her singing at age 12. Most people would have listened politely and moved on. René mortgaged his home to fund her first album. He became her manager, then the great love of her life, then her husband. Their marriage lasted 22 years. He died of throat cancer in January 2016. That loss sits quietly behind much of what came later. Before that, look at the scale of what she achieved. More than 200 million albums sold worldwide. My Heart Will Go On became one of the most famous songs ever recorded. 5 Grammy Awards. Then Las Vegas. Her residencies changed how modern artists thought about live performance. She holds both the first and second highest-grossing residency spots in Billboard history. She was a force so steady that people took her power for granted. That is why what came next felt so shocking. In her documentary, Celine revealed she had been living with symptoms for 17 years before her diagnosis in 2022. 17 years. Fans watched her sing, smile, and finish shows night after night while she quietly fought something she could not explain. What makes that more painful is where it started. It began in her throat. For a singer, that is the most frightening place anything can go wrong. She described it as vocal spasming. Her voice would tighten. Control would slip away. The instrument she had spent her life mastering suddenly stopped responding. At first, she blamed tiredness and overwork. But another possibility was rising beneath those excuses. If your voice is not just your career, but the center of your identity, losing control of it feels like losing the map of your whole life. In October 2021, she postponed her new Las Vegas residency. The official reason was severe and persistent muscle spasms. The public heard the words, but did not know the full story. Months later, she canceled the remaining dates of her Courage World Tour. When she spoke openly in the documentary, she revealed something heartbreaking. On stage, she sometimes turned the microphone toward the crowd because she could not trust her own voice to carry the note. People thought it was a warm gesture. Sometimes it was a cover, a way to hide the truth. For nearly 2 decades, the real battle stayed hidden in plain sight. In December 2022, Celine Dion told the world the truth. She had stiff person syndrome, a rare autoimmune neurological disorder. It causes severe muscle stiffness and painful spasms that can strike without warning, affecting the torso, arms, legs, and sometimes the face. The body becomes rigid. Ordinary sounds, sudden touch, stress, or strong emotion can trigger a crisis. That last part matters most. This disease responds to feeling. The nervous system becomes overactive. Many patients have very low levels of GABA, a brain chemical that calms nerve activity. When that system fails, the body stays on edge. Emotion becomes a trigger because the body cannot settle itself. Think about what that means for Celine Dion. Her whole life has been built around emotion. A live performance brings lights, sound, excitement, adrenaline. For most performers, that energy is fuel. For Celine, it can also be a threat. The illness did not simply attack her body. It attacked the exact system her art depends on. And there is no cure. Symptoms can be managed with therapy, medication, and careful control of triggers. But managed does not mean gone. The illness stays. It may stabilize. It may worsen. It may surprise even the people treating it. In June 2024, Amazon Prime released I Am Celine Dion. It became one of the most talked about documentaries in the world. Celine gave the director full access. No soft filter. The camera saw medications, therapy, and the private cost of a public life. During a therapy session, she lay on a massage table. Then the spasms began. First her hands, then her feet. Then her body tightened into a full crisis lasting several minutes. Through all of it, she remained awake. When the time came to edit, she told them to keep it in. She wanted people to understand what this illness really looks like. She wanted those living with rare conditions and invisible pain to feel seen. Then comes the most revealing moment. After the seizure ends, after the pain and helplessness, Celine gets up and somehow becomes the one comforting the director. Even in collapse, something inside her still reaches outward. Then came Paris, July 26, 2024. Olympic Games opening ceremony. For weeks, rumors swirled about a surprise finale performer. The cameras turned toward the Eiffel Tower. There she was, standing high above the city in a white Dior gown. Rain fell. The piano began. She sang L'Hymne à l'Amour by Edith Piaf, a song written from deep love and deep loss. For Celine to sing those words in that moment added another layer. She was not simply returning. She was speaking through a song that already knew heartbreak. Kelly Clarkson called her a vocal athlete. That description fit perfectly. What Celine did required discipline, courage, timing, and endurance of the highest order. Yet behind that grace sat enormous risk. Her documentary had shown that singing could trigger a neurological crisis. Emotional intensity could trigger a crisis. Physical strain could trigger a crisis. She was outdoors, in the rain, live before the entire world. No second try. If her body failed, everyone would see it. Instead, she delivered. The performance became one of the defining moments of the ceremony. In early 2026, mysterious posters appeared across Paris. They carried song titles, not her name. For those who knew her music, the message was obvious. On March 30, 2026, her 58th birthday, the Eiffel Tower stood behind her as she announced a residency in Paris. She called it the best birthday gift of her life. She did not say she was cured. She said she felt good, felt strong, felt a little nervous, and felt grateful. The venue, Paris La Défense Arena, Europe's largest indoor arena. 10 shows were announced. Then nearly 9 million people entered the ticket lottery. 6 extra shows were added. Then more dates for May 2027. People had not forgotten her. They were waiting. Now comes the uncomfortable part. Celine Dion still has stiff person syndrome. That has not changed. The illness was there at the Olympics. It will be there in Paris. It does not pause for headlines or ticket sales. The Olympic performance was one song, a few minutes, a single peak. A residency means full concerts, long sets, repeated strain across many nights. Recovery, then more effort, then another show. Her documentary showed what singing can do to her nervous system. The stage brings lights, noise, adrenaline, expectation, and pressure, all potential triggers. Her return comes as the music industry watches comebacks through a new lens. In 2025, speculation about an Oasis reunion dominated headlines, while legacy acts like Madonna face scrutiny over the physical demands of touring. Celine's situation is fundamentally different. She is not simply aging. She is performing with an active, incurable neurological condition that makes her residency one of the most medically significant events in entertainment history. The questions are honest. Can her body hold up across so many dates? What happens if an episode strikes mid-performance with thousands watching? The only truthful answer is that nobody knows. Why is she doing it anyway? Celine knows the risk better than anyone. She knows the pain, the fear, what it feels like when her body locks up. During her worst period, she took 80 to 90 milligrams of Valium daily just to walk, swallow, and function. She knows what it means to try to sing and hear silence where her voice should be. She is not being careless. She is choosing. She has said if she cannot run, she will walk. If she cannot walk, she will crawl. The point is not speed. The point is that she intends to keep going. Before her documentary premiered, a reporter framed her absence as loss and finality. Celine answered in 2 words, "I'm not dead." That line holds so much of who she is. There is something deeper beneath her decision. Her 3 sons are watching. They have already lived through loss. Their father died in January 2016, days before their oldest son's 15th birthday. Celine has spoken about how performing is tied to René's memory. On stage, she still feels connected to him. The stage is not simply where she works. It is where love, grief, memory, and identity continue to meet. Walking away from music might cost more than continuing. The illness remains whether she sings or not. Yet the stage still gives her meaning, connection, and a way to remain herself. September 12, 2026. La Défense Arena, Nanterre. 45,000 seats. A sold-out crowd. The first full concert since March 2020. Try to picture it. The lights go down. Somewhere behind the stage, a woman in her 50s stands in the dark, waiting for her cue. She carries an incurable illness inside her body. Her medical team is close. Her sons may be in the building. In the deeper part of her memory, maybe René is there too. Now hold 2 possibilities. One is beautiful. This could become one of the greatest comebacks modern music has ever seen. The kind of return people talk about for years because it reshapes what they believe a human can endure. The other is frightening. Her body could fail on stage. A spasm could strike. A crisis could unfold in public. The stage she loves could become the place where her illness catches up with her before the whole world. Both possibilities are real. That is why this story matters. Celine knows both are real and still chooses to step forward. For millions living with chronic illness, that choice means something. Not because it makes pain beautiful, but because it shows the truth. A person can be scared and still continue. A person can be fragile and still be brave. A person can know the risk and still say yes to life. This was never about whether Celine Dion will be okay. The real question is whether she wants to live fully in the body she has, with all the risk that comes with it. Everything she has done suggests the answer is yes. September is coming. The world waits to hear what her voice will do.